Every single click, every error, every little thing a user does, it's all getting logged somewhere. But have you ever stopped to think, what if those logs, the very things that are supposed to help us, are actually our biggest risk? It's kind of a radical idea, but we're going to dive into it today. What if the most secure data is the data you never even collect in the first place? That's what architecting for data minimalism is all about. And seriously, this isn't just some abstract thought experiment. For a lot of companies out there, this is a very real ticking time bomb. We get so focused on grabbing all this data, right? Gotta have it for debugging. But in the process, we've accidentally created this gold mine for attackers. The very same logs we depend on to fix things, yeah, they could easily become the source of our next big, ugly crisis. Okay, so think about it like this. Your logs are basically a super detailed diary of everything that happens inside your company. Now, what if that diary is just stuffed with your customers' most private info? We're talking names, emails, their entire history. What happens if someone gets their hands on that diary? It's way more than just a privacy issue. It's a fundamental betrayal of trust, the kind of thing that can absolutely wreck your brand. So you gotta wonder, how did we even get here? I mean, how did our systems turn into these digital diaries full of secrets? Well, it pretty much boils down to this classic conflict, a real dilemma that every single software architect has to face. It's a tug of war between two totally different but equally important goals. All right, in one corner, you've got your compliance and security folks. Their whole world is about protecting the company from massive fines and legal headaches, so their mantra is collect nothing sensitive, period. But then, in the other corner, you have the engineers. The ones who get paged at 3 in the morning when everything's on fire, and they're screaming, I need all the data to figure this out. It really is that classic unstoppable force meets an immovable object situation. And when these two sides can't agree, the fallout can be, well, catastrophic. And I'm not talking about a small slap on the wrist here. We are talking about jaw-dropping, multi-million-dollar fines that can literally put a company out of business. We're talking about those big, splashy data breaches that you read about in the news, the kind that just decimates customer trust. And the truly ironic part? All this extra data we're hoarding, it often doesn't even make debugging any easier. It just creates a mountain of noise for engineers to wade through. Okay, so is there a way out of this mess? Is there some magic bullet that makes both the compliance team and the engineers happy? The answer is, yeah, there is. But it's not a technical fix. It's a shift in how we think. We have to completely ditch that old collect everything just in case mindset and really embrace a whole new philosophy. And that new philosophy is called data minimalism. Now, this isn't about being cheap or cutting corners, not at all. It's about being smart. It's about forcing yourself to stop and ask the hard question. What data do we truly need to make this thing work and to fix it when it breaks? It's all about being deliberate, being intentional with every single piece of information you decide to store. I mean, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? The most secure data is the data you never collect. It's such a simple concept, but it's so powerful when you really think about it. If you don't have sensitive data lying around, guess what? You don't have to worry about protecting it. You don't have to worry about it getting stolen or leaked. It's like the ultimate security cheat code. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But what does this actually look like in the real world? How do we take this idea and put it into our actual code? Let's walk through a super clear before and after example. This is how you can turn your logs from a huge liability into a genuine asset. So here's a pretty standard log you might see for a failed login. You've got the basics, right? Timestamp, the event name, and error code, all good. But then, boom, you see the user's full name and their email address sitting right there in plain text. This stuff is what we call PII, personally identifiable information, and having it in your logs is just asking for trouble. It's that ticking time bomb we talked about. All right, now check out the minimalist way. See what we did? Instead of logging the name and email, we've swapped it out for a user ID. It's just a unique, anonymous identifier. Think of it like a token or a secret code. Now, if an engineer really, truly needs to know who that user is, they can use that ID to look them up in a separate, secure database. But the critical thing is that sensitive PII is gone from the logs. It's a small change in the code, but it has a massive impact on your security. And boom, just like that, the dilemma is solved. Your compliance team is thrilled because there's no PII sitting in your log files, and your engineering team can breathe a sigh of relief because they still have that unique ID they need to actually debug the problem. Everybody wins. It is a genuine win-win. Okay, so hopefully you're on board with this. You see the power of it. The next question is obvious. How do I actually get started? The good news is, it's probably not as daunting as you think. You can actually start taking concrete steps today. Here's a super simple 3-step action plan to get the ball rolling. First step, audit. Just go look at your logs right now. See what kind of sensitive stuff is actually in there. I bet you'll be surprised. Step 2, define. You need to create a rock-solid schema, a set of rules that just says we do not log PII. Make it official. And finally, step 3, tokenize. Start that process of swapping out those sensitive details for anonymous IDs, just like in the example. Look, this is a journey, not something you'll finish overnight, but every single step you take makes your systems and your company safer. So I want to leave you with a final thought. As architects and engineers, we are obsessed with what we need to build, what data we need to remember. But I want you to flip that around. What if your most powerful design decision isn't about what you remember, but about what you intentionally choose to forget? That is the real power of data minimalism. And that's a power that's entirely in your hands.